Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Empower Hour show. My name is Debbie Sherrick. I am a holistic codependency coach, the owner of Inside Out Wellness down here in sunny South Florida. And guest today and my partner today, Laura Bookbinder from Yoga Bliss, is a holistic yoga teacher. Hi, Laura.
Hi, Debbie. Happy holidays. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, sweetie. Same to you. Thank you for joining me today as we talk about this topic that's so relevant this time of year. We are going to talk about the trouble that a lot of us have this time of year with the holidays, dealing with recovery and unfinished business with our family of origin, and how we're going to talk today about our belief systems that maybe we still have from childhood. We're going to talk about triggers that we have at this time of year and what comes up, keeps showing up. And then we're also, Laura and I together, are going to talk about the energy of that and do a little meditation about it, working through the lower chakras, which is our relationship centers. And we're going to, talk and educate you on that today. But this is the time of year when, people will say, that their work slows down because of holidays, and people aren't, focused on the holidays. They don't want to do a lot of work or things during, like, for instance, my husband's a contractor. He slows down during the holidays. Not a lot going on. My business, however, as a codependency coach, I get pretty busy this time of year because all people's stuff comes up, and they're going through crisis, a lot of them. And so there's, people relapsing this time of year. There's escalated abuse this time of year. There's just problems, anything that's dysfunctional during the holidays because the family unit's coming together, and they're just a lot of emotional things come up, and it's a great opportunity, instead of dreading it, is for us to look at what keeps showing up this time of year for me that I dread, or these feelings that are coming up for me, and I'm feeling powerless over how to handle the holidays, and take it as an opportunity of growth. These are things that we still need to grow, a process we're going through, and to pay attention. We need to always pay attention what's coming up right here in our solar plexus center, our feeling center, and pay attention. Our GPS center of what continues to show up this time of year is something that your body is telling you and your emotions are telling you that you still need to work on and you need to address. Laura, when we were talking a little bit before we came on air about something that you had read today. Refresh me, because it was something you'd read on Facebook today, or something about this time of year. Someone had written a blog or something.
Yeah, so I read a little blog by Chris Carr, and she was talking about letting go of expectations and not feeling good enough. So she was worried that she didn't have the right creativity or style to decorate her Thanksgiving table, and that her mother was so good at it and her friends were so good at it that she felt not good enough. And then she realized it's not about those little details of having the perfect setting, the perfect meal. It's about being with family and friends and embracing and being grateful for the family and friends, instead of worrying about the details of having a perfect Thanksgiving, or Thanksgiving you see on TV or the movies.
Yeah, and that's something that, too, it's not that we maybe have expectations of family members or others that we love, that they need to be a certain way, but we put expectations on ourselves. We feel that we need to get into maybe performance and do different things to be okay with ourselves. And that, too, stems back to childhood. And one of the first things that I want to bring up is that when I work with clients at this time of year, whatever's coming up, it's so easy to want to get into blame, victim and blame, and get on that victim triangle where we feel victimized because of what the family is planning or what's going on in the family, and we want to persecute them and look what they're doing to me. And so that's, we want to watch and be aware of that because things that are coming back up still are old. They come back way back into childhood from our belief systems. And so it's not that we just woke up one day and just became codependent, with these behaviors, or that we became a people pleaser or a controller or walked on eggshells or enabled and didn't know how to do boundaries and all of that. It stems from childhood, and you've heard me say before, our belief systems are pretty much created by the age of 7, for sure by the age of 10. So from 0 to 10, our belief systems are created because of things that we've seen, heard, how we were treated, what was missing in our life in growing up that we didn't get, creates our belief system, and that's our root chakra. I, for one, even though I grew up in a alcoholic abusive home, I have very good memories of the holidays. And I kind of had a very non-traditional alcoholic home, because usually people that grow up in that type of home have bad memories. That's usually when there was a lot of crisis and maybe abuse going on or relapse and that. And for some reason, my father, that's when he was really in his good behavior during those times of year. He absolutely loved the holidays. He loved family. He was a big family man, and he loved tradition. He came from a family of tradition, and my big Indiana family had so much tradition between Thanksgiving and New Year's. And so I love the holidays because of that. I have a lot of memories of, making candles and candy and, waiting for Santa, and a lot of family getting together, and foods, certain foods that were traditional. But it was a happy time of decorating. My parents went way out with the decorations, and I can just remember when I think about the feeling of the holidays when I was young. I have a good feeling, and we loved the holidays because we knew that Daddy was going to be on his best behavior during the holidays. Now, after the holidays were over, that was a different story. So I really don't have those triggers, of the holiday. However, I was sharing with Laura before we started our broadcast that after I got married and my father's addiction increased and got worse, and he was, by himself then, he would come to my house, Laura, during when my older kids were little. He would come up during that time, not necessarily that day, but during that time of year. I would get anxiety because he would come drunk. And for years, before I got into recovery and therapy, when I didn't have any idea what boundaries were, or that I was able to take care of myself, and I just thought, I just had a feeling of dread and anxiety because I didn't realize that, hey, this is my house, and I could set a boundary that my dad cannot come here during the holidays or anytime. I said, you can't come to my house drunk anymore. You can come see your grandchildren whenever you want, but you just can't come drunk. And I was able to take care of myself and release that. Of course, I had a lot of backlash, and he didn't take it very well, but that's not what that's about, where we have to take care of ourselves, during the holidays. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, I just think that's wonderful that you came into your own, you expressed your truth with your father, and you stood up for yourself, and it's wonderful because some people get stuck going through the motions, and they feel that anxiety and pressure to please everyone, but it's really not about that, and you stood up for yourself, and I'm sure you had a wonderful time after that. So.
Well, it took a lot of work. I mean, I was working, with a therapist of recovery of my ACOA issues, and You know, I didn't just all of a sudden get the courage to do it. And when I did do it, I was really scared, you know, to set a boundary with my dad. I was really, really scared to do that. And and that's some of the things we're going to talk about today, why we continue to just feel like we have to put up. Why are we afraid? See, getting my father's approval and not letting him down was huge to me. That was part of my belief system that I continued to do through my life, is continue to get my dad's love because he was so unavailable, continue to try to win him over, and be, you know, have his approval was huge to me because performance was huge to my dad. You know, if I performed well and I was a great achiever, then I got a lot of attention and love from him at that time. So for me to say no to him, you can't do this anymore and you can't come drunk to my house, was very, very scary for me. But those are the kind of things that help us change our belief system and be true to ourselves. You know, we talk about the motto of code of behavior recovery is to thine own self be true. Is we have a loss of self and self-identity, and we don't feel that we have any empowerment within ourselves. And so once we learn to be true to ourselves, learn self-love, and be able to say no and set boundaries, it's really helps that self-esteem and self-confidence raise, and we start feeling like we're getting our life back and not everyone else is not in control of us. So I was talking, someone had mentioned to me the other day about I had Christmas music playing, and she had said that she got teary-eyed, and she said that Christmas music makes her very sad. And I said, really? I love Christmas music. It makes me feel so happy. I can't wait to play it. And my husband says I play it way too long. You know, I've started already. So, but anyway, she said that it made her very sad when she heard Christmas music. And so I asked her, I said, why do you think that is? And she said, oh, I don't know. It's probably my mom or my dad or whatever. But, you know, those are signs that we need to pay attention to, that the subconscious mind is so powerful. And that's where our belief systems are. And, you know, you've heard us say that we live primarily 90% out of our subconscious, not our conscious mind, our old belief systems. And so when we get in and work and look at our belief systems that we acquired and learned during childhood, and what happened that caused us to have that belief that Christmas is sad, we can start going in and healing at a cellular level that subconscious, and we can choose then to look at it from an adult point of view and make a different choice of how we want to feel and how we want to change Christmas or Thanksgiving. So talking about the subconscious and the holidays, you know, it can be sights, it can be smells, it can be sounds, like we're talking about music, the smell of something baking. It can be a feeling, it can be that anger comes up, it can be a memory that's in the subconscious that comes up. I also had a client who every year her husband would get the tree up, and she would getting major panic attacks during Christmas, and they had little kids, because when they would get the tree all decorated, her husband would come home a day or two later drunk and knock down the tree and knock everything over every year because of things that happened to him and when he was a little boy in his belief system. So we were talking about a plan of, you know, boundaries and how she was going to handle that. But things like that can trigger memories for us. You know, maybe you had growing up fights, a lot of tension in the home, you know, a lot of maybe people controlling, and you know, a lot of expectation. And so certain feelings and thoughts and anxieties and depression and those kind of things we need to pay attention to, that are coming up during the holiday time. Laura, do you remember, you know, you growing up, we've talked a little bit about, you know, expectations and all. Can you remember any certain times of you growing up with the holidays or feeling any pressure?
Yeah. Well, I tend to be a people pleaser, so that's something I worked on year after year. Just, you know, trying. I remember going together with family, which was all wonderful memories. but I would get a little anxiety when we would come to the conversation, like, how are you doing with your jobs? Are you happy and successful? And I always wanted to say the perfect answer, and it got a little nervous, and because life isn't perfect, and everyone's got their struggles. But I learned to accept myself exactly as I am, and to come into my power and speak my truth, and know that I don't have to be perfect to be accepted. And the holidays have started to get a little bit more cheerier for me.
I've heard, I've heard that too, that people dread going to holidays because of the expectation that the parents have on them. Why aren't you married yet? Why don't you get a better job, and those kind of things. And those are the triggers from childhood. And so today we're going to talk about how to handle that. And when I was thinking about having this Empower Hour today, I was thinking about the we don't have a lot of time together, and really this is something that we're talking about, our belief systems and fears and things that keep coming up, dread of the holidays, that generally I work quite a bit with people about. So I wanted to really give you guys some good information today about that. And I thought two things that we need to really focus on, I felt today, were looking at the triggers, looking at what triggers you, so you can have awareness, because knowledge is power. And once we have the awareness of what our triggers are and what that feeling is, then we can start addressing, you can start looking at that and saying, where did this feeling come from? Why am I triggered? And then the most important thing is for us to have a plan before the holidays start, that you get a personal plan for you of what you want your holidays to look like, how you want to handle your holidays. So let's look at some of the things I wrote down today. Are
Do you want me to go over the questions? Some questions to ask?
Sure, you had some questions. Let's do that, Laura. Go over some of the questions that you had, and this will help you maybe spark something in you to say, yes, that's me, yes, I do that. So Laura will ask a question, and I'll address it a little bit, talking about the people pleasing, and see if this is you, kind of a little diagnosis, see if you can relate to any of these questions. So what's the first question you have, Laura?
Okay, so do you feel anxious if others are unhappy with you or your choices?
Do you feel anxious if others are unhappy with you and your choices?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if that's something that triggers you, that's a good question. If you get really anxiety and feel really anxious because someone's unhappy with, no, I'm not going to come to your house this year, or I'm only going to come and eat and then I'm going to leave, this is what I need to do, then there's a couple of things there. We need to look at people pleasing. Remember, we can't take care of our own feelings and someone else's at the same time. And of course we want to do these things in love, but we want to watch, pay attention, like what makes you anxious? Like the question Laura just said, do you feel really anxious if someone doesn't approve of the choices that you're making over the holidays? And if you do, then that's the signal that you really want to rescue and take care of someone else's opinion and feelings, or that someone else's opinion really matters to you for your own validation and for you to be okay. So that's a good question. You have another one?
Yeah, that's the similar. The next one would be, do you need others' approval to feel okay, which you just addressed. Do you give others' feelings, needs, and wants precedence over your own?
Yeah, that's really a biggie. And that again is, we about not taking care of ourselves, which is so codependent behavior, is that we take care of everybody else real well. We take care of everybody else's feelings, we take care of everybody else's needs, we take care of everybody else's, what they want, their desires come first, and ours. Now, this is where we got to find balance, because of course we want to be loving, we want to learn to compromise, and we want to learn to, be a caring person. However, when we're at the other side of the river and we are constantly giving up everything, all of our desires and all of our, their feelings, their needs, their wants always come before ours, and we're not taking care of ourselves, we set ourselves up for resentment and victim, because we're blaming them. Their needs always come first, what they want, their feelings always come first, mine don't, because we feel like we don't have any power, that we don't have a choice. Yes, you do have a choice. So again, when we talk about inside out healing, when we are constantly making sure everything's okay on the outside, everyone else is being taken care of, we're walking on eggshells, we're meeting their needs first, we're taking care of their feelings, their opinion about me matters more than mine about me. When we're looking for that validation on the outside, we will continually be losing that inner self, that inner higher consciousness of self, and not knowing who we are. That's that loss of self. So the beginning, is for all of us, is self-love and being true to ourselves and taking care of us and knowing that we can start taking care of ourselves during the holidays. Good question, Laura.
Yeah, that's a great one. The next one is, do you silence your own needs and feelings to not upset others?
Good. Then again, that's that throat chakra area. Not speaking up. We had an Empower Hour a couple months ago, or I think on confrontation. You can't change what you don't confront. And I see this a lot. I know I used to didn't think it was okay to speak up for how I really felt and be honest and have emotional integrity. That I swallowed my words. And that's why we see a lot of people with codependent behavior have, when we talk about holistic is mind, body, spirit, we see them have a lot of digestive issues. About that, Laura. We deal, when you teach yoga and meditation, a lot of the physical is digestion, because they've swallowed their words, swallowed their truth, and they'll have burning heartburn or stomach issues and colitis and anything to do with the digestion for not being able to speak up how they're feeling. And so we need to look at, why do we do that? What's our why that we are afraid? Afraid that we'll be rejected? Are we afraid of abandonment? We're afraid they'll withdraw our love? Afraid that they'll shame and attack us? And all of that is our issues. Those are things we need to work on. Yeah. Because when we can get to the point where we can validate ourselves and our opinion of ourselves and what God thinks about us, and we know that, and we feel that we're pleasing to Him and pleasing to ourselves, then we can get to the place where, I'm taking care of me. I'm sorry this hurts your feeling, but this is what I got to do. And we don't really, we don't feel responsible to take care of them and their feelings. And if they're mad and upset and want to give us backlash, that's really their issue to have to take care of, So, you can be mad at someone and still love them at the same time.
Absolutely. Forgive.
Yeah.
Be free. Okay, you want to do one more?
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you work hard at trying to become what you feel others need you to be, or what is expected of them, especially romantic relationships?
Do you work hard
at trying to become what you feel others need you to be, or what is expected of them?
Yeah. Ooh, that's a whole Empower Hour show. Right?
Yeah.
And there again, that's that loss of self of, do you do that? We're talking about the holidays. Do you put on who you think you should be for other people? And that loss of identity, loss of self, of not being true to yourself, being something else for someone else, trying to gain their love or their approval, and that. And it's a really painful place to be, and it's a really lonely place to be, because eventually, it just doesn't work. Eventually you get resentful, you feel lost, you feel insecure because of just not being true to yourself. So we want to always be true to us. Let's talk for a minute too about, I want to make sure that we address this during the holiday. I want to talk about people relapsing and dreading the holidays because a loved one relapsed. That was something that I did have to deal with in later years with a spouse who would relapse during the holidays. And here was, that I always loved the holidays and enjoyed the holidays with my kids, and yet my spouse would be out relapsing. And really, thank goodness, he would go away and relapse. He would relapse in the home. I wouldn't even have allowed that, but he would leave the home, for days or weeks and relapse during the holidays. And so, and I've had siblings relapse during the holidays. I share with you about the boundary with my dad, and so it can be a really, really tough time when we have a child or a spouse or a brother or sister or a friend, a loved one who goes back into their addiction during the holiday season. And the relapse rate is very high during the holiday season because of these feelings that have not been dealt with, because of these subconscious belief systems and memories, and so much comes up. This is the time of year, guys, where you really want to up the ante on your recovery. You want to go to more meetings. You want to surround yourself with, and I'm talking about people in recovery, addiction. You want to go to more meetings. You want to really stay in touch with your sponsor and have good support, hang around people that are healthy for you. With us, with codependent behavior and dysfunctional families, we want to have a good support system. We want to, if you're going to CODA meetings, up your meetings with that. Laura's going to share with you about ways, with meditation and yoga and all to help during this time of year. So you want to really be hyper vigilant this time of year. I like to spend a lot of time breathing and praying and writing in my journal what comes up for me this time of year. Because it's just a hectic, it's stressful, it is. But we want to, choose of what we want the holidays to look like. So when we have someone, when I had family members that had relapsed, one of my boundaries was that if they were using, they weren't allowed to come to my home. I didn't have a relationship with them when they were using. I told them I loved them from a distance, but I would not be, in a relationship with them as long as they were using, as long as they had relapsed. It was about personal boundary to protect myself, my home, my feelings, and not to enable them or rescue them. I didn't want to do that. So if that was their choice to relapse, then, I'm sorry, but this is a choice you made during the holidays. I'm sorry I won't get to be with you. So it's, every situation's different, but it's important for us to have a plan on what we want to do during the holidays in case something comes up. So, Laura, you want to share what you were sharing with me earlier about why we're talking about this? About a plan?
Yes. So instead of going into victim mode or anger or anxiety or chaos, for me and my background, I would suggest going possibly into the bathroom or find a quiet place, maybe shut the door to a bedroom, and just start to connect with your breath. Close your eyes and give yourself a moment to reconnect to yourself and just breathe in. Maybe you want to inhale peace and exhale calm, and just take a moment to get centered before you start a fight with someone, where you start to react, and you want to find that inner peace. And now's the time, like you said, to go to a yoga class if you practice, or go to a meditation. Surround yourself with people that uplift you and will support you. Maybe make an appointment with a friend to meet for coffee so you can get away for a little bit. Just so you have your peace and center, so you're not in chaos.
And that's what we're talking about, getting a plan. And this is something I'm working with clients with right now, is the plan that they're going to have for the holidays. And Laura was talking about disengaging. That's one of the things we want to make a decision and have know what your intentions are going to be for the holidays. And whatever feels right to you, asking yourself, what feels good that I need to do to take care of myself? What feels scary to me that I need to take care of myself, that I don't get myself in that situation, because we're powerless over other people and how they're going to act, but we're not powerless over what we can do to take care of ourselves and do that. So disengaging, she just talked about meditation, maybe doing some yoga or going in the bathroom to breathing. It can be that we decide if something's going on uncomfortable for us that we can leave the room. We can disengage from the conversation. We can go out and go for a walk. We can go talk to someone else there that's healthy. We can decide what what we need to do to take care of ourselves and have that plan before. I'm, for an example, working with someone right now who is going through a painful divorce, and her holidays were bad memories and on eggshells, and a lot of expectation of her, and just really a nervous wreck through the holidays. So now that she's away from that and in her own place, I'm having her draw up and to write what does she want her holidays to look like? What does she want to do for Thanksgiving? What do you want to do for Christmas? This is yours. What do you want to do? You may not want to be around any family members. You might just want to spend a couple hours. So, we have to decide for ourselves what we need to do to take care of ourselves, because it's about rescuing ourselves, not blaming, not going into victim, not playing martyr, not reacting and getting angry and, overreacting to something that's about us, that triggered us, and then we're engaged in attacking and getting angry at someone else because they pushed our buttons. We want to find a plan for us that helps us feel peaceful and centered, and to enjoy the holidays. They're meant to be enjoyed. So let's bring up a couple things I think that come up during feelings that can come up for you, just to see if you can identify with some of these. And one is that maybe you felt coming up, I'm going to get my glasses on, feeling as a child that during the holidays you may feel a lot of shame and not good enough, because maybe you had no one available to you during the holidays, and maybe you weren't valued during the holidays. Maybe your parents didn't pay a lot of attention to you. Maybe you weren't given gifts. Maybe they were hurting, and they were unhealthy. And so the holidays, you were not meant to feel special or valued. And not just the holidays, it could have been an ongoing thing in your childhood of shame, shame and not good enough, and being criticized, and, had a lot of messages that you weren't good enough. And so that can come up during the holidays for us, not feeling good enough, like no matter what we do or what decisions we make, like we're damned if we do and we're damned if we don't. We just have that feeling of feeling not good enough. And that's our shame, and that's something that we need to address within ourselves, of why we continue to feel that way. And I was talking to Laura earlier before we started the show, when we were in the green room, and we were talking about how not to dread these feelings of, if depression's coming up, if sadness is coming up, if not good enough's coming up, and all those things, that those are red flags for us to say, okay, thank you for showing me. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, my soul, for showing me these things that continue to show up in my life, that I continue to do this dance with these family members over and over and over, every year, every year, every year. And I want to stop that. I want to get off the dance floor. I want to do what I need to do for me and deal with these things that keep coming up. I need to change myself on the inside. Something else that can come up is looking at that maybe this time of year you want to control everything to feel safe. You know, control comes from fear, and we want to feel safe. So maybe we didn't feel safe a lot growing up. And so we want to control everything. We want to control what's going on, everybody that's involved in our holidays. We want to try to control the attic. We want to try to control everybody else so we can feel safe. So see if you're going with ease and flow, and if you're in a rigid state where everything has to be a certain way for you to feel safe. And then if it switches or things don't go the way you had expected them to go, again, there's those expectations that you are so rigid and that it has to be a certain way that if it isn't, that you freak out because you're not feeling safe, because you're not in control. So watch if that's a red flag, that you're able to have more ease and flow with what's going on. Someone else was saying that, telling me this week that her family, you know, she goes over and it's always a great dinner and they have a good Thanksgiving, and then as the day goes on, the aunts and uncles, the family members, all their old stuff starts coming out, and they'll bring up old things that happened that someone did to each other, and it's always a heated discussion and argument. So she says, I just hate that part of the day. And I said, well, what's wrong with then just going over for dinner and saying, I'm coming over for dinner and dessert, but I'll be leaving after that if you don't like that part of the day? She said, yeah, I guess I could do that. Isn't it amazing that we don't realize that we really can take care of ourselves, and we can set a boundary of, okay, I'm going to come for dinner. And she says, they're going to really get upset. I said, okay, oh well. But I said, how's that going to feel for you not have to sit there and watch that and bring up all those memories that you've had year after year of everybody getting into a big argument? She's just going to feel great. I'd rather leave and go see a movie with my son or something. So that's her plan. And that's the boundary she's having. And, you know, she's nervous about telling her parents that. But she's also able to work through needing their approval as an adult woman, that her little girl still needs their approval. So see, good things can come out of all this. We talked about the people pleasing and not being true to self, and we need to ask ourselves why. Why do we feel the need to people please? What are we afraid of? Are we taking care of other people's feelings? And we feel the responsibility to do that because we don't want them mad at us. And if we don't want them mad at us, why not? What will that mean to us? That we're not okay? Unrealistic expectations, setting ourselves up. We need to not have unrealistic expectations that this year is going to be better. If people have not worked on themselves, not been in recovery, not really that the dance is still the same with the family members, we need to not have expectations that things are going to be different. And I think one of the things that we have to be aware of is honoring where people are, not expecting others to act healthy and have tools that they can use if they don't have tools. You know, everyone acts out of their own level of awareness. So why should we have expectations that they're going to, you know, react or act healthy if they haven't done any work? So letting go of that expectation of maybe this year dad's going to be available to me, or maybe this year, you know, my son's not going to relapse. Maybe this year mom's not going to tell me everything that I need to cook and I need to do this and try to control me. You know, we need to let go of those expectations and just prepare ourselves. What do I need to do? What's my plan that I have to take care of myself? Do I need to say no? No is a complete sentence. Do I need to say no, I'm not going to do that? Or no, I'm not coming? Or whatever that is, whatever that needs to be for you. Let's look at something else. No boundaries between, you're torn between what you want and what you feel you have to do. You feel obligated to have to do something, or it's not really what you want to do, but you feel you have to. And that's a signal of boundaries, you know, that your boundaries are weak and you need to set a boundary. Laura, with you and your siblings, you know, and you're getting ready to get married. And, you know, this is a topic, an issue that comes up a lot with married couples, you know, with families, that families will have the expectation that they have to be here, they have to come here. And a lot of couples feel like they have to travel all the time, all day, to go to all the families. So you and Bruce have a plan for that?
Yeah, well, I'm very blessed and lucky that we're all going to be in one place this year. But I think it's really important to step up for yourself and create those boundaries with your loved ones, because if you're not happy, they're not happy, and then it's going to be a whole issue. So if you can decide, oh, I'll stay here for a few hours, and then, you know, let them know ahead of time that you have to leave and go someplace else, that's fine. Or if you prefer to stay at one place, then do so. And
Yes.
stand up for yourself. Everyone's, their own person. You got to do what's right for you. And if you do what's right for you, then everything will flow and everyone will follow, hopefully, your lead. You set the example, lead by example, and they'll do what's right for them. And it usually all works out.
And I think that's something too, speaking from my own past, when you are divorced and you have children and you're sharing visitation, with an ex-spouse, that it's very important to have some consistency with the kids, like whether they're with mom Christmas Eve and Daddy comes and gets them on Christmas morning after Santa and has them for the day, that they know what to expect. Kids need consistency. They need to know this is what I'm going to do and when I'm going to go with Dad and when I'm going to be with Mom, and that the parents work together as best they can amicably for the kids. Kids come first, and that their priorities should be first, and what's important in how they feel safe and secure, and that they not see Mom and Dad fighting over the holidays and who's going to have who when. And too, when you're married, my kids, they'll go spend Christmas Eve with their dad. They've done that for years, a couple hours from here, and then Christmas Day we're together, and that's what we've done for years. Or they'll choose to, another idea you can have is I'll spend Christmas Eve with you this year, that grown kids can tell their parents, and next year I'm going to be with my spouses on Christmas Eve. Take turns. But there's a way, you have to have a plan and figure out what is best for your family and feels good for you guys, that you're in agreement about, that you're all not feeling obligated to take care of everybody else's feelings, and that you have to show up everywhere else because you don't want everybody else to be mad at you. So,
another idea, we have Thanksmas with Bruce's brother, my soon-to-be brother-in-law, so he doesn't have to travel with his young child. So we all go up for Thanksmas, the middle of December. So we have a separate Thanksgiving and Christmas, but it works out beautifully.
That's really cool. I love that name too, Thanksmas. Thanksmas.
Combining the
Thanksgiving. Yeah. And that's a biggie for families over the holidays, is feeling obligated to be everywhere. And I think we need to create our own special memories, and because you can't please everybody. You just can't. I'm very grateful. My kids and grandkids are around here where I am, and I get to spend time with them, even all the way up through the holidays, between Thanksgiving and Christmas, and doing special things with them. But they have their other family, their spouses, that they are obligated. They want to do things with them too, and we need to not feel insecure or jealous about that. Let's watch for when we do these things. When we decide to set boundaries and we make decisions of taking care of ourselves and what we need to do over the holidays, one of the things that we need to be aware of, it's always good to plan, and we can plan on, once you change the dance with the family members, that you can plan on some backlash. Maybe you have a great manipulator in the family that is going to want to manipulate and try to put guilt and shame and that kind of stuff back on you to get you to do what they want to do. And so be aware of that. Be aware of the manipulation. Be aware of continuing to be true to yourself, and not get into what I call the 2 Ds. Don't get into defending yourself and debating with them. That's a losing battle. You just state, this is what I'm going to do, this is what feels good, and that's all you have to say. You don't have to get into explaining. No is a complete sentence. So a lot of times, people continue to people please and dread and do what they don't want to do because they don't want to deal with the backlash. They don't want to deal with what the other person's going to say. And, that's part of our growing and being stronger, that we can be true to ourselves and let them handle their backlash. And again, I want to say we want to be loving. We don't want to be mean and rejecting to people. We want to be loving to our family, but we want to do it in a way that's also taking care of ourselves. So we talk about getting a plan. So again, look what's coming up for you during the holidays. Look what feelings that you've had every year when the holidays come. Is it a feeling of dread? Is it a feeling of sadness? Is it a feeling of depression? Maybe you grew up in a family who was poor and didn't have money for Christmas. So do you surround a lot of fear around that you dread? Oh, here comes money. That I have to spend money for Christmas or Thanksgiving, and so you have a dread of that because of how you grew up. We can really create the kind of holidays we want, in spite of what's going on around us. There may be a loved one who's relapsed or still out there using, and yes, it breaks our heart, and we're sad for them, and we wish they were here. We wish they were in recovery. But if they're choosing not to, we do not have to be codependent and give them the power to allow them to take our joy and our happiness from us enjoying the best we can the holidays and how we want to enjoy them. So watch what comes up. Again, watch your triggers, have a plan, and we're going to be doing, in closing, we're going to be doing a little meditation here on the lower 3 chakras. And I want to talk about that for a minute. Laura's going to guide us. She does beautiful chakra meditations dealing with emotion and codependent issues and family issues. And the lower 3 chakras, those are the energy centers of relationships. Our root chakra, right at the bottom of the spine and down through our legs, the root is our family of origin. That's where we learn our belief systems. That's where we learn our traditions. That's where we learn about boundaries or not. That's where we learn about how we're valued or not. That's where we created how we see ourselves and how we see relationships and how we see life is from our root chakra, from our family of origin, our tribe that we grew up with. That's where we get our groundedness and feeling safe. So if you grew up in a family where you didn't feel safe and you didn't feel grounded and you were waiting for the other shoe to drop all the time, this is an area that you'll want to work on, is continually working to see what you need to do to get yourself grounded and feeling safe in your life today. You taking care of you. A lot of times our recovery is about reparenting ourselves and learning how to give ourselves what we didn't get growing up and learning how to rescue that little girl or that little boy inside of us that continues to be afraid or scared or not grounded. And then up into our second chakra is our sacral, which is our relationship center, our relationship to others, our cords of attachment, where we still have maybe a cord or umbilical cord hooked to someone emotionally. We react off them all the time. We're just, if they react, we react. If they're happy, we're happy. If they're sad, we're sad. And that's when we're energetically connected to that person, and we need to get our energy back into ourselves and cut that cord and unplug from them. And then our solar plexus is our empowerment center. That's our self-esteem. That's where we set boundaries. That's where we that's our fire center, when we get the nerve to take care of ourselves, know that we're worthy, be confident to set boundaries, and to get the courage to speak our truth. So those lower 3 energy centers, and there's a whole lot more to them, is really the healing of coda behavior before we get up into the higher consciousness. And so speaking of that, Laura and I are putting together, Laura's helping me a lot, we're putting together a webinar that'll be available after the first of the year. It's a course that I developed about 3.5 years ago that I've taught locally, and it's Healing Codependency Through the Chakras. And it's an 8-week course, but it's going to be online, so we have that coming up. You can also go to my website, insideoutwellnesscoach.com, and you can contact me from there. I also have a lot of blogs that I've written about topics we've talked about today, holiday and people pleasing and setting boundaries and that type of thing. So I try to blog weekly on codependency things. And I also coach nationally, globally actually, so by Skype. So you can also get your coaching that way. And I offer a support group, a women's support group locally in my studio. And so I just want to thank you for joining us today before we get into our meditation. And Laura, I want you to share, honey, how they can get in touch with you and what you're offering right now with Yoga Bliss. Will you do that?
Yes. So my website is www.yogabliss.info. And I'm also on Facebook, so if you see my name underneath, it's Laura Bookbinder, Buchbinder. So you can find my classes. I teach in Fort Lauderdale, Boca, Deerfield, Lighthouse Point. And I also do online classes. If you want to try Skype with me, you can do meditation or yoga. I do power yoga, vinyasa, or you can do more relaxing yin poses, which is more of a surrendering practice, letting go with ease.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it.
That's so awesome. And Laura's so good at doing energy work. That's why we fit so well together with the chakras and essential oils and meditation and visualization. And she's just such a gentle, sweet spirit. I love her. She's just like one of my daughters. I adopt her.
Thank you.
And she's also my VA. She's my virtual assistant. She really helps me a lot with my business, and we're just very connected. So I'm really excited about this meditation that you're doing today, talking with what we've talked about today and just getting grounded and clearing some of that old energy out. So go ahead, Laura. Let's start the meditation.
Absolutely. And hopefully you guys can remember some of the things I go over today. And if you feel that anxiety or chaotic pressure from your family members, hopefully you can return back to this meditation, and I really hope it helps. So we'll start in a comfortable seated position. You can either be cross-legged, or if you feel like you want to sit in a chair, I just want you to close your eyes. And just start to connect with your breath. Just notice maybe you are holding your breath. And place your hands on your stomach. Start to take a nice deep inhale through the nose. And then slow exhale through the nose. And as you inhale, you want to inflate your stomach like a balloon. So maybe your hands rise as you inhale, filling the belly, filling the lungs, filling the heart. And just hold at the top. And then slow exhale, releasing gently and slowly. As you sit here, I'd like you to focus on your sit bones rooting down into the floor or your seat. And start to sit up real tall. So start to lift the heart, draw your shoulders back and down. And just notice, are you feeling any tension in your jaw? Are you feeling tension in your shoulders and neck? How is your lower back feeling? I'd like you to breathe into that area. Inhale. And take an open mouth. Exhale. Let it all go. And then breathe in peace for yourself. Big inhale through the nose, filling the belly, filling the lungs, filling the heart. And slow, slow exhale through the nose, releasing any tension, release worry and fear. Let it go. And again, breathe in love and compassion for yourself. And open mouth exhale, love and understanding for your loved one. And then maybe you can think of someone or something that gives you anxiety. Maybe it's a family member. Maybe you're worried about the meal or driving. Just think of that person or situation. Take a nice deep inhale again. Breathe in patience and peace. And exhale power. Knowing that you have complete control over every situation. You can start to imagine a beautiful yellow light shining from your solar plexus, maybe placing your hands back on to your navel or belly button. And with each breath, you expand that yellow light, filling your body with more peace, more joy, more patience. Take a slow exhale, releasing any negativity. And then if you want to think of that person that gives you some anxiety, you can imagine a plug coming from your belly button. And imagine that person, plug into that person. And I want you to take a nice deep inhale. On your exhale, imagine yourself unplugging from that person, regaining your power back into your solar plexus, breathing in more love for yourself. Letting go of that person, that instance, that situation, let it go. Slow exhale. I'm going to put on some music. Just close your eyes. Relax your jaw. Relax your facial muscles. Soften your shoulders. Does your heart feel heavy? Breathe in that beautiful golden light. Inhale. Slow exhale. And relax your belly. Relax your hips. Soften your feet and your legs. And ask yourself, what am I not giving? Who am I not forgiving? And what gift am I failing to receive? So maybe throughout your day, you can ask yourself these questions. What am I not giving? Who am I not forgiving? And what gift am I failing to receive? Take one more deep breath. Inhale through the nose. Hold at the top. And slow exhale. And take your hands to heart center. We'll all bow our heads to our hearts, honoring the beautiful, powerful light within yourself and within each other. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you live with ease. And may all beings everywhere be loved and free. Namaste.
Namaste, Laura. That was beautiful. Thank you. And we just want to wish everyone a beautiful, loving, be true to yourself Thanksgiving. See you next month. Bye.
Bye. Happy Thanksgiving.